Hello, and welcome back to the Middling Along podcast. So happy to be joined today by Elizabeth Joseph. And yeah, I think we're just going to have a chat about all things midlife and the kinds of alternative therapies and approaches to perimenopause that Elizabeth's been trialing. Welcome, it's lovely to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, at what point did you sort of make a decision that you were going to start being sort of proactive in trying some of these things that you talk about on your Instagram account, which I'll tag in the show notes?
I think I think it was born of basically being a woman of a certain age. I'd basically had 2 years where I was completely clueless as to what was going on. I mean, completely clueless. I thought I had an autoimmune disease. I thought I was losing my marbles. I was anxious beyond all words. And it took 2 years before my period started to go bonkers. And at that point, you have some idea of what's going on. So, you start Googling, you start trying to inform yourself, and perimenopause came up. Quite literally never heard the word. And I think I was just so shocked and angry to find myself there. I was like, right, I'm going to be ridiculously proactive now and quite literally try everything that's out there. And, accidentally ended up enjoying myself along the way.
It seems to be a recurring theme, though. This the sort of the periods that almost people have to go through of their body kind of gaslighting them and them thinking, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with me? We're so woefully kind of under-informed, under-resourced. I mean, it's changing for the better, but you
Mm-hmm,
hear
mm-hmm.
over and over again people sort of saying something very similar to what you've just kind of outlined there, that they really did think that there was something seriously wrong with them,
Yeah.
when actually, it's just that combination of sort of perimenopausal symptoms that, had they been better informed or had their GP been better informed, you feel like you've lost that 2 years of second guessing yourself and worry and all of the stress that comes along with that.
Yeah, massively. And I think another thing is because many of us are in the sandwich generation, and basically during those 2 years, life was giving me what I like to refer to as quite the ball thwacking. Everything that could be, just awful, awful stuff was going on. My husband lost his job. I lost my job. A close friend died suddenly. My mum got breast cancer. It just, so I,
And there's no time left for you,
no,
right? There's no
no,
time to be kind
no.
of proactive or trying to sort of, you're just getting by, getting through.
Absolutely. And every single symptom I just put down to that. Well, of course, I wake up with a
Mm.
feeling of, complete the futility of it all. No wonder I'm anxious.
Impending doom.
Exactly, exactly. It all made sense that I suddenly felt like a different person because, what was going on. And exactly what you say about the doctor, I mean, I do not put up and shut up. Never, never happens. And during that 2 year period, I went with so many different things, so many different symptoms, which I now know all are all on the list, but
Mm.
neither of my doctors had a clue.
Didn't put two and two together and get perimenopause.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So what was cast your mind back? What was the first thing that you tried? And we're going to have a chat about some of the things that you've
Gosh,
kind of
that's,
experimented with and
yeah.
what's worked and what are you sticking with?
I think the very first thing was cold water therapy. I think because that was one thing that was in the news quite a lot, and because I don't live that far from the sea, although it is
Mm.
the North Sea. Um, so that was the first thing that I tried, and it was literally just leaping around in the sea with the kids. But I had a natural high for the rest of the day. I mean, like, it
Mm.
was incredible. So that was the very first thing that I tried. And when it got far too cold to go in the sea, I started doing the turning your shower to cold,
Mm.
for the last kind of
The
30
Wim
seconds.
Hof
Yeah,
method
yeah,
type stuff.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was a school mum who was talking, have you heard about Wim Hof? So I looked all of that up. And I think because there was a lot being talked about it. But yeah, that's been a huge game changer. Not necessarily easy to do, but has made a massive
Mm.
difference.
So, and you're still doing some of that to this day?
Yeah. So the
Mm.
the the, uh, the shower bit, and the other thing with the cold water swimming is lots of women are like, but I'm not fit enough, and I'd be too scared. I literally just go in, bob up and down a few times, and come out again. There's no real swimming at all, but
It's
you
too
get the
cold.
same. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But obviously if you can swim then and you feel like a swim, then that
Yeah,
is,
wonderful.
accessible too. Oh, interesting. And then you've sort of turned this sort of process of trying things into a kind of a whole account on Instagram where you talk about your experiences and you talk to some of the sort of practitioners or providers that are either offering services or products. Are you happy to sort of talk about a couple of the other things that you've tried and what else you found that's stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely loads of stuff. So I've and a lot of it, via the wonder of Zoom, which is quite something, especially with lockdown. So I've tried womb massage, sound baths, distance reflexology, cacao ceremonies, hypnotherapy. I mean, just so tapping, mouth taping, just so many
I might
different.
try the mouth taping on my children. It can be like, "Just can just come here while I get the gaffer tape, children."
Or on your husband if he's a snorer.
Is that what it's for? The mouth taping is for.
Well, I don't. That's something I didn't get on with at all. But
Okay.
the idea is it's supposed to kind of promote good oral hygiene. Somehow I don't understand how it's supposed to stop you needing to go to the loo in the night.
Oh.
But loads of people say they wake up feeling far more refreshed.
So you don't breathe through your mouth, you only breathe through your nose.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be so much better for you. But I lost
Mm.
the tape on the first night, found it on my shoulder at lunchtime, which shows you how well I washed myself in the shower that I didn't notice it.
At least you weren't, like in Sainsbury's the next day with it hanging off your collar or something, like, "Don't mind me."
Brilliant. And one night, my son had a nightmare and climbed into bed with me, and I frightened him a lot more because he didn't realise I had my mouth taped up, which absolutely terrified him. So that one didn't work for me.
Didn't stick.
But because I don't like it, didn't stick. But because I'm not kind of making any money out of what I do in any way, shape, or form, I can
Mm.
be honest when I write up about it. So I'm
Yeah.
never mean. I always check, with the person involved. Is it all right if I write this? But it gives me quite the freedom to tell it like it is.
Well, I think that's why, the account's been so successful because, you don't have an agenda and you're just offering that sort of one person's independent kind of viewpoint. But yeah, gosh, I mean, it does seem like it's quite a lot of work, presumably, to sort of go out and sort of find these things and then connect with people and sort of write stuff up. How much of your kind of week does that sort of take up?
Yeah, it does. It does take up a lot, to be honest. But most of the time, I am living my best life because it's just such good fun. But when I was doing it on my own before I joined Instagram, I had this vague idea I was going to write kind of a very anonymous guidebook. I was going to try all this stuff and just, write in a very kind of dry manner how I found it. And I ended up spending quite a lot of money and quite a lot of time trying loads of stuff. But the minute I started to get a bit of interest on Instagram, people come to you
Mm.
because they're so keen that they so believe in what their approach or their product that they're massively keen for you to try it. So since joining Instagram, that's made it kind of a lot easier, and it has kind of helped me find my voice and my style of writing as well, I guess. Which I was a very happy stay-at-home mum. I still am, but I've discovered that I really enjoy writing and it makes me feel serene. So that's been the big win for me.
It's
um,
been a good outlet for you,
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
just generally. You sort of talk a little bit maybe about how you feel like, you found your voice, you
Mhm,
found kind of a bit of a new identity
mhm.
almost in sort of in this process. How has that sort of unfolded and how do you sort of feel like you're different than the person sort of at the end of that 2-year period of feeling just like you say, totally kind of thwacked from all sides? How has that change been, that process of change for you? And have some of the sort of any of the services or sort of service providers that you've worked with helped in that change process?
I think it's a really interesting one because when the ball whacking was going on, I very much retreated. I did become very anxious, and I pretty much looking back now can see that I pretty much hid in the house. I would do the school run, and other than that, I really did seek to become invisible, really. And there was an awful lot of stuff that I would very much dial down. I would say, kind of in the company of women. So I've always
Mm.
been ridiculously honest, which hasn't always served me very well. So I've never been able to sort of pretend that everything's okay, right from pregnancy and having kids. And I was never the one baking the muffins and saying everything was great. I was like, no, I've been sobbing with cabbage leaves in my bra and I'm finding it all really hard. And it never kind of really served me. And neither did my kind of very weird sense of humour. And
But you
so
found your people now on
I
Instagram where they're like, yeah, we love all that raw vulnerability. Bring it on.
yeah, very much, because I wasn't on any kind of social media. So, I didn't know if I was breaking any rules, or, the way you were supposed to do it. And all the stuff that I tried to dial down seemed to be serving me really well, slightly off the wall sense of humor and kind of raw honesty,
Mm.
has served me well. So it's, people talk about this kind of midlife, reinvention or revolution and becoming the woman you were supposed to be. And I think more than anything, I've just sort of learnt to accept and quite like the person that I am, which actually is huge,
Yeah.
is really
Quite revolutionary,
yeah.
right? Society doesn't want us to be to love ourselves and to to accept ourselves the way that we are. They want us to go out and spend lots of money on making ourselves better and more attractive and wearing the right clothes and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Like, absolutely that. Like, I feel like, we're the kind of, you know, have to have it all generation. And anything that I've taken from all the different things I've tried, the crazy or otherwise, is it's all about self care. And with the same with perimenopause, I'd never heard the term self care. Every time I saw it on Instagram, I thought it was women talking about having relations with themselves. Ooh, what?
I care a lot about myself.
Take some
Um,
time every day for a bit of self care.
Interesting.
But that's what it's been more than anything. Whether it's trying a knee pillow at bed, or putting a magnet on the back of your neck, or trying hypnotherapy, or a slightly crazy woo woo cacao ceremony, it's just stepping back and looking after yourself and
Yeah,
resting.
self-prioritization, isn't
Yeah,
it, really?
yeah.
Above and whether women have choose to have a family or not, as a whole, we're not great at prioritizing ourselves. We're
Oh yeah,
we're great
absolutely.
at prioritizing everybody else apart from ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've loads of friends who don't have children, and I don't think it makes any difference at all. They're still looking after everybody else, running around, just looking after everyone else, whether it's in the job, whether it's parents, whether it's a partner. Yeah, I don't think we're great at putting ourselves first.
No, it's definitely something I'm trying to work on as well, and sort of that whole making time. I think it's very easy to say I don't have time to do stuff for me, but you can make that time if you make it a
Yeah,
priority.
yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because I've obviously, nobody realistically has the time to try the ridiculous numbers of things that I've tried, or take that many different supplements and that many different prebiotics and probiotics, and seriously, the list is endless. And I'm not advocating for a second that anybody does that. And I have become aware of quite a few posts where people are saying, I just don't have the kind of lifestyle that means I can do that. And other posts where women are going, look, women are getting shamed into feeling that they should be having this coach and they should be doing that and they should
Mm,
be doing the other. But my reason for all of it is kind of twofold. One, so we're talking about it. You
yeah,
know, nobody talked to me about perimenopause. And even if someone's going, that woman is ridiculous, what is she talking about? At least they're talking
there's a
about
conversation
perimenopause.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, even if you just try one of them or a few of them, if you find something that just means that you give yourself, you put yourself first for 10 minutes every day, then that's enough. I've written, I talked myself into having a column, a monthly column in a local glossy magazine. I literally just wrote, hello, can I do this,
That's
please?
fantastic because, yeah, there is something about this time of life that is like, yeah, kind of carte blanche to go, well, what's the worst that can happen if I
Exactly. Exactly. This is exactly what I did. It was so funny. And she's so cool. But I remember writing an article that said, listen, you don't have to step into your power. You don't have to stand in your back alley, advertising period pants. You don't have to put yourself out there massively. Just put yourself first. Just
Now we
reframe
have to
it.
talk about the period pants because of anybody who doesn't follow you on Instagram
What?
needs to know what you're talking about. So how on earth did you get yourself into modelling for period pants in black and white standing semi-naked behind your house?
In the back alley. But again, that was, seeking to be invisible, bit by bit, stepping out, going on Instagram because my kids taught me into it. And when I
Mm.
first went on Instagram, was completely anonymous. I didn't have a picture up. I used
Mhm.
stock photos. I never put myself out there. And then before I know it, bit by bit, I'm growing in confidence. And I started kind of reviewing stuff. So a local lady makes eucalyptus and bamboo nighties for to help with night sweats and hot flushes. But instead of sort of doing a sensible photo shoot, I did a picture in the back alley of me taking the bins out in my nightie,
Brilliant.
which went down an absolute storm. So then I got a little bit overexcited and ended up standing next to my husband's motorbike in Wucker, which was the company Wucker period pants, holding his motorbike helmet.
And was he taking the photos, or
Yeah,
did they to Instagram husband?
yeah, he takes all the photos, and he comes to that was his idea as well. But it took me ages. I mean, I remember sitting there going, "Shall I post them? Shall I post them?" Not knowing whether to do it. But
Hovering
and then
over the button.
totally, and I'm feeling quite poorly afterwards. But it just snowballed from then. So I think I posted those on the Friday night. On the Saturday, the wonder that is Instagram, the founder of Wucker, which stands for Wake Up, Kick Ass.
Which is surely the best name for any company anywhere.
She put me in her story. So I just, I'm sending a DM saying thank you very much. And by the way, did you know, and I read it back now going, the shame, did you
Cringe.
know that us perimenopause ladies are big business? Our periods don't
Yeah.
just stop, they go bonkers. And I actually wrote the sentence, I think you should have more silver sisters in your next advertising campaign. And she immediately wrote back, this was like 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Well, we're doing a shoot on Monday. Is that too short notice? I was like, no, I'm not doing anything on Monday. Where do I need to get to?
Brilliant. But that's, yeah, saying yes to all the crazy stuff that life throws out and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Amazing things happen.
It's true though. Yeah, it is true when you just start to push yourself out. And the God's honest truth is, I hated every single moment of the photo shoot. I felt wobbly, both literally and metaphorically. I found it really, really difficult. I didn't
Mm.
enjoy it, but I did it
Really out of your comfort zone. But
hugely.
imagine looking back on that in 20 years' time, and you'll probably think, God, what an amazing day.
Yes, I
What an
was
incredible
gorgeous.
memory. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's the thing, isn't it? We don't necessarily appreciate ourselves in the moment, but looking back with hindsight, you can just like, oh gosh, what were you worried about? You with your 20-year-old youthful dewy skin
Oh, it's so
and
true.
no lines.
Yeah, so,
You don't
so
see all
true.
the stuff that you fixate on at the time. You just see all the good stuff. So let's talk about the book that you're working on.
Well, yeah, again, that was really interesting and very much came from, yeah, finding my voice on Instagram, so that, no longer seeking to be invisible. The whole idea of the guidebook, it was, well, hold on, no, people are interested in people. People are
Mm.
interested in, hate the word, but your journey and your honesty. And so it's slowly, with the support of, and that's what my whole journey is, being helped by strong women, with the support of strong women who've gone, no, I wouldn't be your agent, and no, I wouldn't publish that. But I tell you what, you can write, and why don't you make it more about you? People who have taken time to mentor me basically,
Mm.
and help me. So it's finished, but it needs, without question, it needs another edit, to finesse it. And I just have to keep pushing myself away from the who do I think I am?
Yeah, the imposter type
Yeah,
inner critic.
yeah.
Yeah.
To
Who
why?
wants to hear my story? But I
Yeah,
think that, yeah, there are, what is it? They're going to be 1 billion menopausal women by 2025. We are a force to be reckoned with. And
exactly. And there aren't a huge number of books out there. And I started off being, well, I'm not an expert, but well, no, but I'm an expert of my own experience, and that's what I'm talking about. And it's very much looking at different symptoms, but kind of holding your hand, making you laugh, have a look at some of these daft things that I've tried, but also kind of my I'm doing it again, my journey through the whole thing.
did you consider HRT, but decide that it was kind of not for you, or because you're trying lots of sort of complementary or alternative type therapies as well as sort of product and services, I guess I would call it,
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of sort of coaching or exercise or whatever.
yeah. It's just been that I'm navigating more of a natural approach at the moment. But my
Right.
big thing is it's about not gritting your teeth, head down, get on with it. It's about tackling it, about finding your right way through. And for some women, that's HRT, and for some, it's a natural approach, and for some, it's both.
Mm.
Now, I never really talk about HRT because I haven't researched it. I don't know anything about it, but I would never say never
Mm.
at all. I think it's about, a woman's choice, and actually, it's not just a choice, is it? Sometimes you have to fight, as we were saying with doctors, to be heard, to be listened to. So, no, I would never say never. At the moment, I'm having quite the ball trying all the different approaches. To the point that I have a little video on my Instagram of me, basically doing a Tabasco mouthwash, um, to
You
deal with.
really will try anything, won't you?
Yeah, quite something. It's the only thing I could find for like burning mouth, and it works. So I'd had burning mouth, and I'd read about this, and I was desperately waiting to get burning mouth again so I could try it.
Try the Tabasco.
Yeah, totally.
So what the idea is, you're just sort of cancelling out one with the other.
Yeah, well, it's got I don't know how you say it, capsaicin in it,
Yeah,
which is the active ingredient in the kind of heat
the
patches.
chili.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But that you get as an it's like an analgesic basically, and it really does work. Yeah, my symptoms are manageable to the point that I'm quite excited when I get something because I can try something else on it. But I mean, I've had people kind of typing away when I've been doing lives saying, if I had stuck to natural approaches, I would not be here now.
Mm,
And I totally get what they're saying. Not for 1 second would I ever say, you have to do it this way.
no. And I think
Ever.
I think that's really important for women to understand, as well as that it's not kind of all or nothing, right? You can, if you go down the HRT path, you can also do sort of some
Yeah,
of these other things, and that will kind of, depending on you and your own unique circumstances, it may or may not be for you, just as it may or may not be for you if you're not even touching the HRT. I do think, though, it can be overwhelming, and I think I've sort of said this before, just the sort of, there is so much to take on board in terms of, oh, am I taking magnesium supplements, or should I be, eating more soybeans? And I don't know, sometimes it does all just feel a bit
oh,
hard to think about
hugely.
if there's other stuff going on.
Hugely, and all the advice and stuff. And I still genuinely don't know what it means that I should have more of a plant-based diet. I always imagine, like, I always think I should do a post sitting at the table surrounded by all my house plants, and I genuinely, there's an awful lot. I don't know what that means. Okay, well, I'll think about that later. And I think the other thing is, linked to the fact that women don't always talk to each other about it, is that
Mm,
you don't want to scare somebody. We all had periods. We didn't all experience them the same way. Some of us went through pregnancy, some of us went through childbirth, but it wasn't all the same. We didn't all have the same symptoms or the same experiences. It's different for each woman, but at least we did talk about those things.
mm. And I think, as part of this sort of gradual process change in society where it is slowly becoming less sort of stigmatized, less taboo. I hope more people are talking about. I'm certainly talking about it more with my sort of immediate friendship group. I mean, not not necessarily going to start banging on about it in the playground, but with the sort of people that I really sort of know and trust. I think, yeah, it feels like there's more sort of liberty to kind of to start having those conversations, and that it's a chain reaction, isn't it? You do it and then somebody
Yeah.
else feels like they can talk about what's
It's not
going on for
it's
them
not
as
such
well.
a big deal. My husband actually came back. He'd had to go for blood tests at the hospital, and the nurse who was doing the tests said, "Ew, I'm terribly sorry." She said, "I'm having perimenopausal hot flushes," which is absolutely fantastic. I thought that was amazing, just to be comfortable enough just to say to this chap, "Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm having a
give
hot
me 5
flush."
minutes. I'll be
Yeah,
back. Yeah,
that's
but that's what we should
magnificent.
all be
Yeah,
comfortable being able to be. And for, if somebody like your other half was there, that they wouldn't immediately kind of flinch and go, "Oh my god,"
yes,
what does that
yeah.
mean? That people, it would just be something that was common currency, and that we could just talk about as easily as the weather.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it should be. I think it's brilliant. Again, women have told me about having brain fog at work and just losing a word, and then just saying, "Look, I'm really sorry. This is a perimenopause symptom," and then using it as a teachable moment for their colleagues. I think
and
it's
moving on to this
fantastic.
quarter's results. Seamless transition. Love it. So I think we're getting there, and yeah, I think the stuff that you're doing on Instagram clearly is really resonates with people, and I do think people just love your kind of dry style, and like you say, your brutal honesty, and sharing the good bits and the not so good bits. And I don't know. I think that vulnerability creates the trust, and the sort of that's what people love, is having that sort of genuine sort of someone who's there and not sort of just trying to sell you something
Yeah,
shiny and on empty promises.
yeah, and pretend this will make everything all okay. And it has really served me as well, though, in terms of being able to ask, as I was saying before, other strong women for help, because I don't have a problem with going, "I haven't got a clue. I'm winging it. I don't know how you get a book published. I don't know how you get onto somebody's podcast. I don't know how you write a blog." And it's lovely, that kind of, what's the phrase, you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. And
Yeah.
and I love that feeling, women empowering women, but it's true. That's
It
what
is
we're all
true. It is
doing.
lovely, and yeah, I think that's one of the really nice kind of side benefits of suddenly, you are meeting all of these incredible people that you wouldn't necessarily, you'd never meet face to face, but just through sort of following those paths of association, and people are genuinely very happy to help. So yeah, very much look forward to a time when we can read your book,
Oh, me
hopefully
too.
maybe next year, maybe.
Yes, maybe next year. Maybe next year.
And then do come back and talk to us about the book when
Oh yeah,
it's
I'd love to. Yeah, that would be fabulous. Yes, thank you.
And what's next? What are you trying at the moment? Is there anything kind of,
Oh,
you give us an
I've
inside scoop?
amazing, something called RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy.
Ooh.
The idea is that you have one session of about 2 hours where you get hypnotized, and you go back to different scenes in your past to find out why you're being held back by certain limiting beliefs rather.
Mm.
And then you'd listen to a recording that's made for you every day for 30 days. But the kids keep at the breakfast table keep clicking and
They're
going,
trying to
"Buy,
hypnotise you.
yeah,
Make a chicken
buy us
noise.
more chocolate, yeah, buy us more chocolate, buy us more." It's really, really,
Those
they're loving
buggers.
all of it. They get such a kick. They tried to stick me to the fridge when I was wearing a magnet for hot flushes. So, but they'll be incredibly well informed when it,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah,
And yeah, I hope by the time it rolls around for, yeah, for the next generation, that is a completely different ball game. So
yeah.
yes, thank you for everything that you're doing to make that a reality.
And you, my pleasure. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Middling Along podcast. Do remember to subscribe to be notified when our next episode is live. And why not visit the blog at www.midlingalong.com to sign up to my newsletter as well. I do hope you enjoyed listening today. If you did, I'd be really grateful if you would consider leaving a short review, as that helps people find the podcast and helps get it noticed. Hope you can join us next time. Goodbye for now.